So, when we are talking about Dr. Zia Shamsi Sahab about the announcement of the US State Department's or US government sanctions, this is the sixth round of these sanctions to be levied by the US on Chinese and the Pakistani entities since November 2021. This whole episode was started just before the announcement of Indo-Pacific strategy in December 2021. Is it a coincidence or it's by design?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Faisal. Very important subject. It can't be a coincidence. US does not do things by chance. They do it. They always do it by design. They always do it with utmost preparation. And sanctions on Chinese companies and Pakistani entities is not by any chance. Why? Because US has a history of sanctioning Pakistan. Whenever they need us, we are major non-NATO allies.
Yes.
Whenever we are not required in their calculus, we are sanctioned. So, I am not surprised on the sixth round of sanctions. There will be many more. This is not the last time they are sanctioned.
As announced by the State Department.
As announced by the State Department. So, we should be mentally prepared. Here, the issue is not what USA is saying or why is US sanctioning. They will do it whatever is they deem in their interest. We have to see what is in our interest.
Yes, definitely. What is in our national interest?
Okay. So, since these sanctions are not new, number one. Number two, Pakistan is not the only country that has been sanctioned by the US. Okay?
Obviously.
And there are so many other countries who are living with these sanctions for more than 4 decades. Iran is sanctioned, Venezuela is sanctioned, Afghanistan is sanctioned, China is sanctioned,
Russia is
sanctioned.
Yes.
So, there is nothing to worry about. We will continue our programs if they suit us, if they suit our national interest.
Obviously, and we have to.
And we have been doing it.
Yes.
Throughout the 80s, we were under sanctions, but we continued our program. And Alhamdulillah, when the time came, we responded to India's test, isn't it? Likewise, likewise the missile technology also, or any other technology. Whatever is there in our national interest, that program will continue. Whether it is the modernization of armed forces, whether it is the development of new missile systems, whether it is the development of nuclear weapons, whether it is development of subcritical or subkiloton or tactical nuclear, whatever it is. If it is needed for our security and if it is needed for our national interests, we will guard it jealously, no matter who sanctions us.
Definitely, you are absolutely right about that. Why Pakistan national security is not important for the US?
Yeah, because Pakistan does not fall into their calculus as far as their strategic interests are concerned. For tactical or operational interest, yes, Pakistan becomes an ally whenever they need us in Afghanistan.
But for the limited period.
For limited period. That's why I said the strategic interest. You rightly pointed out a number of things, but most importantly, perhaps, in my opinion, French reprocessing plant, which we were supposed to get, and Americans stopped French from supplying it to us after India carried out 1974 Smiling Buddha tests. And then also they stopped the Swedish company to give us the Viggen aircraft.
Yes.
And they also stopped A7 aircraft that was supposed to be supplied. So it's a long history. But what I am coming at is that whenever a superpower makes a move or makes an announcement, it is not without a purpose. So look deep into the US purpose of these sanctions since 2021. What are they achieving? Number one, they are pleasing India that we are countering Pakistan. Number one, we are weakening Pakistan relative to you, so they are appeasing India. Number one, they are preparing India for a
It's a kind of a
Indo-Pacific.
pleasing and teasing policy.
Indo-Pacific against China. Okay, then they are forbidding Chinese companies to get business elsewhere through sanctions. All right. So there are these three purposes straight away in one move they are achieving, isn't it?
Definitely.
So the issue is not that what US is doing. The issue is what we are doing. Isn't it?
That is paramount.
Like Brigadier Sahab also pointed out, it is we who has to decide what is in our interest and how would you handle. Especially this administration, as I keep saying, Biden administration will go down in the history as the weakest administration, US administration in last 40 years. Why? They were unable to stop China's rise. China has already risen now. It's an old dicta that China is rising.
Yes, of course, no doubt.
Okay, number one. Number two, they were unable to persuade Russia from not attacking Ukraine. Number three, they are unable to convince Netanyahu to stop genocide in Gaza.
And they are openly exposed as well across the world when it comes to Ukraine or to the Gaza crisis.
So now it is trying to salvage the situation because this is an election year and elections are only 2 months away. So to show it to the American people, they will try to impose more sanctions on Chinese, more sanctions on Russians, more sanctions on Pakistan and the countries like that, and Afghanistan. So this is by design and this is not by any chance, because they have to salvage this situation. Donald Trump, a former president and the candidate, has very rightly pointed out to Vice President's claims that when she comes into power, she will do A, B, C, D. And Trump responded spontaneously and rightly so, that why don't you do it now? You're the Vice President. And President at this time is nearly incapacitated.
Obviously.
Isn't it?
Definitely.
So why doesn't she do it now? Why is she waiting to be elected? So what I am trying to say is that, like you raised the point in the beginning, that is it by design or coincidence? No, sir. There is no coincidence in political affairs.
It's by design.
It is by design.
No doubt.
And they are achieving multiple purposes out of this.
Your point well taken. How do you see as Washington's move, its timing looks so suspicious, as it specifically target two of the strategically important Pakistan missile systems. One is Shaheen 3 and other is Ababil. As a State Department official, Matthew Miller named these missile systems, to which Pakistan's adversaries, especially India, has lots of issues. Because both of the missiles are beyond 2,000 kilometers of the range.
Actually, we don't really need this kind of distance to target India. We are neighbors. But this is one way of targeting Pakistan and putting sanctions on it. But can I just go back to Mr. Taimur's argument?
Why not, please?
You know, if we are at World War 2.5 at this time, where 40% of the world is facing conflicts and wars, is because of realism. It is because of realism. This bogey of self-interest and anarchic world and all that is causing the world to this, because most of the governments, especially the hegemons, because realism creates the
Obviously,
hegemons.
yes, there are contours of, there are different contours of the realism, no doubt about that.
So, if you are following Machiavellian approach of realism, where prince needs to do whatever is in his best interest and forget about the people, then obviously we will have this kind of world in which we are sitting.
Obviously.
I am not that realist. I have coined my own theory of realism with Z, not with S. I do not support realists, I support realizers with Z, realism with Z. I am a supporter of Sun Tzu, who says that you should win your battle without fighting. And it can be done. Hybrid warfare is one way of winning your argument. But if you follow the classical realists, Machiavelli, then yes, you will have bloodshed and you will have wars in the Europe also, in the Middle East also, and in Africa also, and in South Asia also. I would urge on all practitioners and academics to please stop pursuing or stop supporting this age-old argument of national interest and self-interest and anarchic word and all that. You want to pursue your interest, yes, you pursue it, but not at the cost of my interest. Can't you pursue your own interest without hurting my interest? That's what the beauty of diplomacy is.
Definitely, you are absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So please do not tell me that realism is the only way of managing this world.
No doubt there are
because
several
realists
ways,
have
definitely.
failed to ensure global security, regional security and domestic security. We need realizers, we need game changers. Mr. Trump was in power for 4 years, no new war was started. Was he not pursuing the national interest of US? Was he not?
No doubt, he was might be.
So, what I am suggesting is, humbly request who still profess classical realism, that yes, states pursue their national interest, but can't they realize that they must achieve their interest not at the cost of the other?
Obviously, you are absolutely right, sir.
Find
Absolutely
other
right.
means.
Absolutely right. Your point well taken, Shamsi sahab. Shamsi sahab, if you want to add or to say something on that.
No, it is true. As far as the Americans are concerned, you could be darling at one time and you could be enemy on the other time. So, Pakistan at this time is not the darling because they don't need us. India is, because they need to prepare India to face off China in Indo-Pacific.
Definitely.
So,
definitely.
this is very clear. There is there is no rocket science involved in American policies at this time.
Obviously, you are absolutely right. Thank you very much, Dr. Zia Shamsi sir, for your presence here in the studio.